The mystery of Ravenwood's Ghostly Inn, fact or fiction? Nestled in the fog-choked hills of Ravenwood, where the moonlight barely pierces the dense tree line, there lies an old inn. The once grand and welcoming facade has decayed, the windows like hollow eyes staring into the darkness. Known today as the Ghostly Inn, it has become the center of unsettling tales, stories that make you question the line between the living and the dead. Is it possible that something otherworldly resides within its crumbling walls? Something ancient and malevolent? Or is it all just legend? Built in the late 1800s by the enigmatic Theodore Ravenscroft, the inn was intended as a haven for weary travelers. But from the moment it opened its doors, something wasn't right. Guests whispered about strange noises, objects moving on their own, and fleeting shadows seen from the corner of the eye. What could be lurking in the darkened hallways, just out of sight? Could these stories simply be the product of overactive imaginations? Or was there something far more sinister happening? One chilling account comes from a fateful night in 1903. A family of four, desperate for shelter from a storm, knocked on the inn's door. They were welcomed by the innkeeper, a man whose face, some say, was unnervingly blank, as if he was hiding something behind his hollow eyes. That night, the family went to bed, their bellies full, their hearts comforted by the warmth of the fire. But what they didn't know was that by morning, none of them would be seen again. Why did they vanish without a trace? The townspeople combed the surrounding woods, searching for any sign of their departure. No footprints, no luggage left behind. Just the lingering memory of their final moments in that haunted inn. Did something unspeakable happen to them? Or were they victims of the inn itself? An entity feeding on their very souls. Others who dared stay at the Ghostly Inn reported bizarre occurrences. Rooms would become impossibly cold, even in the height of summer. Disembodied voices murmured incoherently in the dead of night. Was it the wind playing tricks on them, or were they hearing the whispers of the long dead? And then there was the woman in white, a spectral bride, some say, murdered on her wedding night, forever wandering the halls in search of her killer. They say she appears without warning, her hollow eyes locking onto yours. Could this be true? Or is it merely the twisted remnants of an old ghost story? But for some, the line between fact and fiction becomes blurred beyond comprehension. Paranormal investigators have ventured inside the Ghostly Inn, each eager to unearth evidence of the supernatural. Recordings have captured voices that shouldn't be there. A low growl, a whisper. Sometimes a name spoken aloud, though no one had said it. Leave, one investigator swore he heard while reviewing his tape. But leave who? Leave why? What is it that doesn't want to be disturbed? What would you do if you found yourself alone in the dark, with nothing but the sound of your own heartbeat pounding in your ears? Would you be able to explain the sudden rush of cold air that chills your spine, or the soft but unmistakable sound of footsteps behind you when you know you're the only one there? Could it all be in your mind, or is something watching from the shadows? There's a persistent legend about a room, Room 9, where a young woman once stayed, never to be seen again. Guests who've dared spend the night in that room claim the air grows thick, making it hard to breathe. Some have reported waking up to see the silhouette of a figure standing at the foot of their bed. Was it just a dream, or was it something far more real? And when the morning light finally breaks through, they flee, never looking back. But what if it wasn't just a figment of their imagination? What if they had been closer to something unholy? As the years passed, people continued to disappear. A traveling salesman, a newlywed couple, a lone drifter, none of them ever seen again after checking in. The innkeeper, when questioned, always had the same eerie response. They left in the night. But no one ever saw them go. So what really happened? Did they leave? Or did they meet a fate worse than death? Then there are the townsfolk who warn visitors to stay far away from the inn, especially at night. They claim to hear strange noises coming from the inn, creaking floorboards, the faint sound of music from a long-silenced piano. But who, or what, is playing it? Could the inn itself be alive, keeping the spirits of those lost within its walls? Is it possible that the innkeeper, Theodore Ravenscroft, knew what he was building all along? Some believe he dabbled in the occult, that the inn was meant to serve as a gateway, a place where the veil between the world of the living and the dead was at its thinnest. Could it be that the land itself was cursed? Could the inn be a beacon for lost souls, or something far more sinister? Even today, as the inn stands abandoned, thrill seekers and investigators return, drawn by the mysteries that surround it. Some come out unscathed, but others leave with tales of terror, scratches on their bodies they can't explain, an overwhelming sense of dread, the feeling of being watched by something unseen. But what is it that waits in the darkened halls of Ravenwood's Ghostly Inn? A restless spirit? Or something far darker than we can comprehend? And so, the question remains, is the Ghostly Inn at Ravenwood truly haunted? Or have decades of ghost stories simply taken on a life of their own? Is there really a bride wandering the halls? Or a room where guests disappear into oblivion? Could the legends be true? Or are we all just too eager to believe in something beyond our understanding? There's only one way to find out, isn't there? You could go. You could spend a night listening for the creaks in the floorboards, feeling the chill of the air as the lights flicker. But when the darkness closes in, would you dare close your eyes? Would you trust that the stories are just that, stories? Or would you feel the weight of the unseen, knowing that something might be watching, waiting? What will you believe when you hear the knock on your door in the middle of the night and no one is there? Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.